Comparison steals more than joy. I think everybody knows the phrase, and I think it's preached a lot nowadays, that comparison is the thief of joy, which I 100% agree with. I think looking around at what people have and the life people live, and especially with social media and all of the exuberant ways people will flaunt what they have, I think comparison is the thief of joy. I think that is a great saying. But I don't think it's the only thing that it steals. I think comparison is a true thief, a thief of something physical like your money. Today, I was talking with some friends at work about lifestyle creep and how it's affected individuals that I know, and how if you watch the first episode of this series, you know that, like, I talked about that lady with the Jeep and how, she's making payments, and that's definitely an example of lifestyle creep. People get these $20,000 raises, and instead of spending, obviously, if you get a $20,000 raise, you should spend $3,000 more in the year, but you shouldn't spend 20 grand more, because that's how people get ruined. And I think it's something I've seen a lot in my early 20s, and I see it with a lot in people my age, especially obviously with social media, but even going to college. So, for example, every girl that I see at my college, I go to an SEC school. If you've seen my profile picture, a lot of girls there will wear, the full Lulu set. And, they're wearing them to the gym, and I see them in different ones. And not that I'm looking at the girls at the gym, which isn't that crazy. But you see these girls with these really, really expensive clothes, and they're all matching. And that's not by coincidence. I think, a girl sees another girl wearing that item and goes, hey, I want to buy that. Or you see this with shoes all the time. Guys looking at other dudes' shoes. And then, back when sneaker culture was big, go and be like, I got to get that. And a couple things about buying those items is, one, the financial burden that you give to those things. It feels so hollow. And that's not me saying you shouldn't go out and spend the money on nice things. No, I think that's ridiculous. I think there are some nice things, including some clothes, that you should spend good money on. I think everybody should have, a good pair of shoes, a dress pair of shoes, maybe a running pair. It's not me saying never spend your money, but I think a lot of the reason people do spend their money is because they see somebody else doing it. And I just don't, I think it's not fulfilling, and it is bad for your finances. Comparison does take away money. Like I said, girls with the Lulu sets, they're buying $100 Lulu sets because Tiffany got one the other day and she looked cute. And Sarah got one and she looks cute too, but she's thinking, is this worth the $120 I bought for a sports bra and leggings? I don't know. Like some of the Nike stuff, like I like Nike shirts, I find them at the thrift. I'll get a Nike shirt, but $65 for a dry fit shirt that I'm only going to wear the gym a couple times before it shrinks in my dryer. That's probably on me for not taking care of my clothes and drying them too often. But it's ridiculous. And I don't think the purchase of these items comes from truly wanting them, rather than seeing them on others and comparing yourself to others. And yeah, so I think that's something that's really interesting. Lifestyle creep in general is just an interesting thing, and how people, the second they have money, are willing to spend more of it. But really, when you sit back, and this might just be me, but if you sit back right now and you look around at the stuff you have and what you do day to day, would that change with something you can go buy at the store right now with what's in your bank account? Obviously that doesn't apply to big purchases, but small things. I'm going to go home, I'm going to cook dinner, I'm going to play the banjo, and I'm going to watch TV. And I don't know what I could buy right now that's going to crazy improve that or crazy change my night. So yeah, I don't know. Just something I was thinking about a lot today, and how I think it's just important that you shouldn't compare yourself, and comparison doesn't only steal joy, but also steals your money. So yeah, definitely interesting. I'm trying to think of other things that happened at work today. Nothing crazy though. Today was so chill. Um, Girl showed me a text from a guy she got. Have you ever seen somebody just put up an abysmal shot? Like the worst shot you've ever seen. It was a text that said, "Do you want to make out?" And then he corrected the make out to hang out, like it was a typo. And I just, I'm sitting there, a keyboard right in front of me, and I'm looking at it like, you'd have to have the fattest fingers in the world to make that spelling mistake. So, and yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. So, you got to set up your shots. You can't just raw dog. Do you want to make out over text? I feel like that's not very optimal. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got today, guys. Have a good weekend.